Joined now by the Motown phenom, Kevin Lee. Great to see you up against Daniel Rodriguez this weekend. It's been a long time. It's crazy. I spoke to you, feels like years ago now in Singapore. You're still 28 years old. Like you're so young still in the game. It's insane. So that must be nice being 28 and having so many fights under your belt, having already fought for the interim title. Does this feel like Kevin Lee 3.0 to you? You've had so many phases of your career and you've still maybe got your best days ahead of you. Is that kind of a nice feeling?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. 3.0. I didn't think about it before that, but it does kind of feel like the start of a new phase. Like you said, I'm only 28, so that means I'm just starting to hit my prime. So I'm gonna make sure I hit the ground running and really put together a championship run. I've been in the UFC since 21, 22. So there's been a major growing process through that. There's been some wins, there's been some losses, there's been some a lot of good and bad memories, but this is going to be the start of a great one.
What's the most important thing you learned in that time, do you think? What's the biggest piece of wisdom that you'd give to your kind of fresh young self coming into the octagon for the first time?
Honestly, know who you are. Know who you are. I tell that to myself now. And it's really just one of those things that I'm learning this last year is don't deny it and know who you are and have patience in that and just have trust in that. As confident and as brash as I always am, there's always like a little bit of you that kind of doubts it and kind of don't really assume you're supposed to be there or don't really feel like you're supposed to be there. And in the past, I've learned to self-sabotage a little bit. So I would tell a younger me, know who you are and just embrace it and just be that.
The last time I interviewed you was in New York before the Gillespie fight. That must have been an unbelievable feeling. I remember you walking away, the Bernie Sanders thing, and it was a crazy knockout. How hard is it to go from that unbelievable high, which that must have been one of the best feelings in your career, and then, and then it doesn't go your way, and then you get the injuries, and then you got to pick yourself up again. How tough is that mentally?
Yeah, it kind of goes to what I just said, even. If you remember right, like I told Joe Rogan in the cage, I said I wasn't ready for a championship level fight. I said I wanted to string together a few more, get a couple 3-rounders left. And I just wasn't ready for that yet. But 2 months later, I ended up fighting the world champion in a 5-round main event. Or the guy who was gonna be the world champion, So there was a little bit of doubt even after that. Even after that major highlight, doing it in front of the president of the United States and all this stuff. There was so much good coming out of it, but there was a little bit of doubt still. So for me to have to sit down and have to deal with these injuries and 2 double ACL surgeries, I mean, not many people come back after a year of that. So it's taken a lot of focus and it's taken a lot of realization in order to do it right. And I feel like I have.
You're a name that attracts other big names. And I know that you've been looking for a fight. There were so many candidates. Was the important thing now after what's happened to you this last year, just to have a fight and just get back in there? So you got Daniel Rodriguez, he's game, he's 2-fight winning streak. Now that he's the guy in front of you, is it an exciting prospect for you? Someone that will come to fight?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's going to show up and really put on a good fight is all I care about. I didn't really care about the name. Really, I'm the name and was going to add that to Sean Brady if we ended up fighting. And I'll give that to Daniel Rodriguez now. So I just cared that he was going to be able to show up and fight. And after they announced the fight, I got so many calls from people that I really know in my personal life and throughout the streets and all this that have known about him from his time before the UFC and before fighting even. And like, oh, you fighting D-Rod? Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good fight. So that got me a little bit more hyped. At first, I just thought, okay, this guy, he's decent. He's a little slugger. But then as time goes on and you really study the guy and you really look at him, he's gonna even answer a lot of questions for me. Great Mexican boxer. I've known to have trouble with them in the past, so it's gonna gonna answer a lot of questions after this fight.
Yeah, he likes to say that he's famously said that he's 200-0 in street fights. Who do you think
Yeah, I've
would
heard
be?
that.
Yeah, who do you think would be the most dangerous guy in a street fight in the UFC?
Strictly in a street fight?
Yeah.
Francis, for sure. You know, I train with the dude on a daily basis. And yeah, Francis, if you was in a tight corner with the man, you're getting knocked out for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't street fight with Francis to save my life for sure. I just give it up. Whatever he wanted, he got, you know.
You guys both train with Dewey Cooper, right? So Francis, is he gonna, I mean, you look at him when he added the wrestling to his game, you just look at him and think, man, this guy could reign for years and years. Do you think that's going to be the case? A lot of people excited about Cyril Gane, but it's just anybody taking this belt away for years off Francis?
I don't think so. I mean, Cyril Gane is going to be his biggest test, especially with them knowing each other and having trained before. And but I just feel like Francis, when he's patient and he's calm, like how he was in the Stipe fight, and it's a lot of stuff that I want to learn, you know. And I've asked him a lot about this kind of stuff because I feel like he solved the problems that I was even having. So to have somebody like that around me and learn from him has been a real big asset because I don't see him losing at any time. You know, he's going to be the Mike Tyson of MMA. I mean, he already is now. We talk about the heavyweight world champion. And I see him being around for a long time, for sure.
You seem to have some really good influences around you. Yeah, like Dewey, like Firas Zahavi. Do you think he's the best coach in MMA?
You know, best is it's real subjective, right? Especially when we start talking about coaching because they aren't really out there fighting. You know, I think coaches speak to each athlete different. And he just speaks with me really well. You know, I understand and we kind of vibe on that level. And I even had somebody ask me like, you haven't been in Canada this whole training camp. So why have Faraz in the corner? But even through video and even just the little tidbits that he gets and gives me on the game plan, it just speaks to me in a way that nobody else does. You know, it's different than past coaches that I've had. And yeah, I'd say he's definitely one of the greatest. I'm not gonna put the greatest out there because that's real subjective, but for sure one of the greatest. That's without a doubt.
It was interesting you were asked about the Tony fight this week. I'm sure you get asked about that a lot. I mean, do you sometimes relive that? I mean, I think you had Staff, you had one of the toughest weight cuts ever. You said you'd smash him if you fought him now. Do you think he will get back to winning ways? He's kind of a fan favorite, and you know, could that come about if he did get back to winning ways and, you know, he built himself back to what he was again?
I honestly don't even know if he's interested in it, you know? Not only am I not, I don't even think he is either. So could it happen? Yeah, of course. Of course, anything could happen in this game. We never know, you know, timing is everything. But I don't necessarily, you know, there's too many good fights out here to be had. And that's one of the ones that I've kind of, like you said, I've relived it a lot, but I've kind of got past it a little bit. If anything, the Oliveira fight now is the one to kind of stick to me. So I think I'll rematch Oliveira a lot more before I'll rematch Tony.
I was interested to see you going back and forth with Mike Perry for a while. Are you disappointed that he didn't step up? Because that would have been a big opportunity. I think also, you know, you guys have a lot of pull with the fans. You know, Mike Perry always brings eyeballs, so do you. And it would have been fun. Was that frustrating for you that he didn't kind of step up to it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is. Especially with a guy who claims he's from Michigan, like me. We take pride in where we're from, so I kind of took it a little personal. And it's almost if you don't want to fight, then step aside and let somebody else do this. You know, don't you kind of hogging up a spot. I get that he's polarizing people. People like him. He's popular and all this stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is the fight game. And if you want to fight, let's fight. If not, then, you know, go do something else. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what he's into, but it is just not something I support. Not especially not where I'm from. You know, with anybody else, I would let this slide and I just go on. I reached out to 12 different guys, and the rest of them, I let them go on. But he claimed me from Flint and he claimed me from Michigan and bitch out. And we don't do that.
Are you rubbing their hands together, the competitor in you, now that you're a welterweight? Because, you know, not only do you have the guys in the top 5, you know, big names like Jorge Masvidal, you've also got legends around you, like Robbie Lawler's fighting Nick Diaz. You know, if you wanted to do that big name fight, you know, you're from the kind of next gen. Nick Diaz is from the old school. Would that appeal to you, somebody like a Nick Diaz, now that he's back in the game?
Yeah, I mean, that is like you said, it's great to throw my name in these hats finally and kind of get a bunch of new names. You got Nick Diaz, you got Nate Diaz, which will really be a good one. Kamaru Usman, obviously, and we've got he's the number 1 right now, pound for pound. So it gives me something to really go for. But then again, you got Masvidal, you got Covington, you got just it's a lot of guys that could really make for a great fight up here. So, you know, none of them really have the appeal I see. You know, I've been sitting back this whole year and just kind of watching people, but they don't do nothing special. You know, they don't really have that. They don't really have that crossover ability. I feel like none of them. So I feel like by inserting myself in there, then I can really stand out amongst these guys.
Your name is often linked to Khabib. He's been in the headlines a lot this week. He said that ring girls are pointless in MMA. I mean, would you defend that? Would you defend the ring girls?
Yeah. Let me step up for him. Let me stand up for him. Come on, leave the ring girls alone. They was here way before him. They'd have been in way more fights than him. So why are you going after the ring girls? You know, pick on somebody your own size. I guess a man don't fight no more and feel like you need to fight everybody. Leave the ring girls alone. We need them. We need that spirit in us.
So after you get the finish this weekend, I hear you got a call out in mind. Any hints for us? Are we looking at a top 5 guy?
I am the top 5 guy. So yeah, we might do that. We might do that to solidify some status. There's been some people that's been barking at me ever since I was, even when I was down at lightweight. So yeah, it's time for me to bark back. It's time for me to make some noise back. I feel like a lot of people have written me off this last year, but I'm making a bit of my own personal history. 2 knee surgeries, 2 major ACL surgeries in less than 12 months. So I feel like after this one, it's going to set a precedent for what I'm going to do to the whole division. And we'll start it one guy at a time.
Great to have you back, man. Respect. Cheers, Kevin.
My God. Appreciate you.
Nice.